Glad to have you here. Glad to be here.
Yes.
Maybe you can give a brief introduction of who you are and.
Yes, I'm Martin. I work for Curve since like 2 years, but I'm like a Curve OG. Basically, I followed the project since the start. I joined Curve like 2 years ago, but because I've like deep into DeFi, I'm well connected with DeFi people and also with Curve, so it was like a natural fit for me. I'm doing BD now, but I had like a technical background in the past, and yes, that's about me.
Yeah, it's the dream success story, right? Where you source like your best talent from your community.
Maybe yes, yeah, that's true. That's like most of our contributors are basically people from the community. Yes, basically.
I do think that has something to do with the way Tokenomics curve is designed, but we'll get into that in a sec.
Maybe.
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Ivan. I'm part of Aragon. We've been building governance infrastructure since 2017, and over the past 18 months, we rediscovered the beauty of VE, and we've been working with a lot of teams, and we see the market has renewed interest in the concept, and so Martin, I want to hear your perspective on like why are we in the VE renaissance? What's the reason why people?
I don't know. I don't know. I just know that basically what really worked out, I got like the airdrop from Curve and I locked it up for 4 years. So it made me basically align to Curve over this. So this part worked out very well. So it's somehow, I guess it's proven that in a way, you can create value aligned, like a group of people or entities around you with veTokenomics somehow, because you lock in for 4 years. Normally today people don't do it, so you have like a liquid locker many times, but in these times it was quite new, so I was like I'm trying this out, and I locked I guess half of the airdrop I still locked. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, as I said, we focused along governance, and like incentive alignment is, it's a necessary but not sufficient condition. But it's one of those things that like unless people are aligned with the project, it just no other design around it will save you. So I think like the incentive alignment is very strong there.
Yes.
And to answer my own question, because I can.
The Renaissance, I don't know. I think it's also like, we did see a lot of experimentation in various fields, like selling token and governments. And somehow, I guess if industry gets like majors, you're not willing to take like new risks. So because what we did see many times, projects, because they have like big brains behind them, they try to innovate on different layers, basically. And I guess now, if the industry gets like more like settled, basically people, the learning basically is maybe you should not innovate on every area. So it's better taking a tested model, which worked out, and not like reinvent the wheel. Basically, this is the Renaissance part in this. So
yeah, it's. We're we're creating the most innovative like staking mechanism, and then we're going doing like solvers, and then we're gonna do like the most innovative tokenomics, and then we're gonna do like the best like consumer dApps on top. And I'm like it's to your point, they're like innovation planes, and you can't really innovate across so many dimensions at the same time, and the thing would still work, right? So it's good.
And the good thing is, if you take a veTokenomics, basically you can tap into the learnings of the people who are like familiar with this concept, because it takes you a long time to understand like the complexity, because the model itself is somehow simple basically, but like the complexity it produces can be quite high basically. So it's more easy if you just replicate that, and like the industry people like inside, like on-chain people, they instantly understand what's going on and how they can like use it. And otherwise you have to read into tokenomics and find like new ways to interact. And so I guess it simplifies also like governments in the sense that people just know, okay, it's a flavor, maybe it's different, what's different, and then you can adapt to this one.
So speaking of governance, there are, broadly speaking, in our ecosystem, there are two main things that organizations govern. It's capital and code.
Yes.
So maybe you can share a bit more about like how is Curve handling those two separately, like how are protocol upgrades handled versus how is the capital flows of the project?
Yeah, most of the time it's like we are more like a param DAO in the sense we vote about params in the protocol and about upgrading code. So it's like many times if we go outside and we work also with other like DeFi projects, they assume it's like a multi-signature, but Curve has no multi-signature at all. Basically, we upgrade our code, we optimize our pools over vote. So it's like most of the government stuff is like, not scientific, but it's not like socially, it's not like a social coordination we do over it. We have votes who are more like about capital, like giving out grants, but it's not like we do it like regularly. It's like, we had one half a year ago. So we don't coordinate the social layer over our government system, basically. And I think it's proven to be, I think it's a good way to just basically, we find consensus on what we are building, and then at some point it's upgrading code, and at this point most of the community have been buying in anyway. So it's not like we had some disputed votes, but many of them they didn't make it to the vote because we had before we were consulting with people, and then we never took this route.
So I want to ask you about the time when Curve saved the industry. What I specifically mean is,
did we?
Yes, and then like maybe even you don't know it, but so basically a few months before Terra and USD collapsed, there was a discussion about adding USD to the 3 pool, which is Tether, USDC, DAI, and if USD was in that mix when it collapsed, like the contingent would have been 10x of what it was. So for me, this was like a very defining moment when like the fact that USD was not in that pool is what saved us.
Maybe.
So maybe you can share a bit more.
I don't.
How did that discussion go?
I don't remember so closely. I just know that most of us had the feeling USD Terra is not like a sane concept, basically. But I did research after the collapse. I was researching. I looked at my own tweets if I did ever oppose this, and I didn't find a strong tweet of myself. I was like, no, this is never going to work, this kind of thing. So, but strangely, most of the more serious DeFi projects, they had the feeling this is not going to work. But it was not so well expressed, basically. So it was close. I think there was no vote about this. It was before.
It was a discussion, and it never reached the proposal.
It never reached the proposal. But somehow.
And if I recall correctly, Justin Sun was on the side of let's add it, and you need a lot of consensus and coordination to oppose to that sort of.
Yeah, the good thing is Curve has a pretty distributed ownership, so it's not that. At the point, no single entity or person can reach quorum, basically. So it's it's not I think this is also the benefit if a protocol is a little bit older, then you have distributed ownership and I guess this helps to be more resilient, basically, because you need to form a consensus to reach the level of quorum first, and then if you have this is the first. Test you have to pass, and many proposals they fail because there's not enough engagement, basically.
Were there other pivotal or very substantial proposals or governance moments that were really very disputed or controversial that and what did you learn from that?
No, I think I've worked for other DAOs, so I have my experience I worked for DX DAO and then for Aladdin DAO, and in my experience it's and I'm Swiss, I have to say. The Swiss is like, we are well trained in government somehow. And I'm telling you this because the Swiss is a very consensus-based society. And most of the time you go into voting if everyone agrees what you want to do. So it's like, in my opinion, you should not go to vote if there's a heavy dispute. You should basically sort it out before, because it can be very damaging for this kind of, for the social layer of these projects. If it's about like technical stuff, you say, then maybe you have a good arguments. One side has good arguments, and the other side has maybe different arguments, and then you can argue on the technical stuff. But it's more about the soft layer or like strategy and this kind of things. And you're not able to form a census, and you're going to vote, force a vote basically, and then one side loses. Yeah, you have a fallout, the social fallout of this. Either some people then just maybe leave, and in a way you want to avoid this because it's damaging to the social layer of your protocol basically. And we did see this, on other protocols, these kind of events, big clashes, and then even if you basically if you bought in with your voting rights, people start like they disengage. Maybe they don't sell their token like next day, but they disengage, and then you lose like this information power, basically.
Speaking of this sort of like alignment consensus and alignment,
Yes.
and we touched on like locking in your capital for 4 years. It's it tends to align you. Is there a point where you feel like there is some tension between curve holders and what's best for the protocol, and like how are you handling that if it exists?
How you mean this? You mean
As
there are many there are many this like I think that it's not that we have like parties, but you can optimize for many different outcomes basically.
Okay.
And it's like naive if you say one tokenomics can basically optimize for everything. So we decided basically to optimize to have a voting system which we optimize our protocol. We don't optimize the social layer. And I think that's a good decision in this case. So this has not been your question, but
no. I think it kind of answers it, right? Because it's sort of, ultimately the objective is, you have a token. If you give that token power over the protocol, what's beneficial for the protocol should be also beneficial for the token holders.
Yes.
And if you do have that tension, you have to be very aware of it and figure out how to minimize the vector between.
But you can assume that most, either the entities who own like a share in your token, bigger ones, they will engage with you basically, because that's what we see in a way. Like Curve is much more like our holdership are like other protocols basically, and they are incentivized to give feedback. At the end it's a feedback system. You try to collect feedback about like the reality, whatever it is. And the better you are able to give this kind of feedback, the more successful you can be basically. Because if you just have like, you don't see like the full picture, full information, you lose like information about like your market or your community or whatever. So the better you can bring in this information into your organization, the more chance of success. And having like a diverse like holdership helps you basically, not going like in the wrong direction, but maybe it also makes you a little bit, slow. It's maybe not right, conservative in your decisions basically. Yeah. Because 4 years is a long term. So it's like, so this is, I think, discussed before. It's like, if you think where our industry is heading and you think like 4 years, it's very difficult to say. If you think 2 years or 1 year, 2 years maybe you have somehow a picture where it can develop, but 4 years it's very hard to. So it's like
there is a school of thought that believes that the reason why products are getting worse and worse in the normie world is because companies report on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
And so you over optimize for the next 3 months. And if you're building a product, or if you have to invest in like customer satisfaction, you would see the outcomes of that investment like 2-3 years down the line, but you would see the cost immediately in the next quarter. So like on one hand, it's like, okay, 4 years is a long time. On the other hand, if you want to build something that needs to last.
Yeah. I think we are like in a sense, but also like if you look at our contributors, we are value aligned in the sense that we are decentralized maxis in a sense, and I think this is like because we want to like create something who is like resilient, and he will be around basically without us. So we don't build like, of course we build for us too. It's like it's fun to work.
Yeah.
But at the end, we want to build a resilient system who can just basically work, just on chain, and that's true for us, because it's not like there's no way you can basically shut it down, and even if like some of the holders or entities will disappear, not vote anymore, there are ways to it will recover at some time. It will just not. We also see, in a way, it's immutable sense. We don't vote. We vote on params, on pools, but it's just optimizing the system. But the system is like an autopilot, basically, on chain. If you look at the on-chain part.
Yeah, I think the true hallmark of what a decentralized protocol is, if the core team walks away today, can it still exist a year from now?
Yes.
And it's a good hallmark to gun after. As I mentioned, I do speak with quite a few teams that are inspired by what you're doing specifically on the tokenomics and governance side, and inevitably the question comes about liquid lockers.
Yes.
Are they a bug? Are they a feature?
Yeah.
And I mean, what's the best practice? Like how do you manage that?
Mitch invented basically veTokenomics, and of course, it's not like. I think it's kind of a flaw somehow that the way it unfolded for Curve. I'm sure not everyone has the same opinion, in the sense that you lock for 4 years, then somebody comes around and makes it liquid, and somehow it's a form of governance capture. In a way, you can maybe even it's a friendly one, but also solves you a problem because you're shifting part of the task, what you have to do as a core protocol, to like another entity. So it's like if you're friendly, and we are friendly with these organizations, then they do things for you. You don't have to do it yourself. So it helps you to offload part of your work, and then you can concentrate more like basically on protocol to protocol work, and be less focus on like retail or wherever you name it, because this is like much more the task of the liquid lockers basically.
Yeah, I think like one of the best takes on the future of DAOs that I've taken from someone who's like not really involved in DAOs was Kobe, Crypto Kobe.
Yeah.
He had this. It was the era of the PFPs, and he's like the DAOs of the future are gonna look like a holding consortium where like you have like 6, 7, 10 entities that coordinate with each other. It's not gonna be like 10,000 unknown random people online. It's gonna be like a few entities that have like these checks and balances, and all of them are powerful, but no one is like singularly powerful enough. And
that's pretty. I guess that's true, or that's the direction we are heading basically.
Yeah, that's.
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
The question is, how can you fix the liquid locker? Can you fix it? I'm not sure. But we did see some have like some kind of exit tax, some veTokenomics, where you basically you can exit and then you pay a fee, so you lose part of your unlock token. This we did see. Jörn has it. I did select this number. I did look at this, and there's not a lot of unlocking done basically. And there was like, I was like reading about this, and somebody was like, okay, but then you're basically distribution, the holdership to the one who are like, to the true believers basically, and you get like an imbalance because then you only got like the feedback from the true believers because they profit from this. So yeah, but I don't know why Fee has it and there's others too, but I don't know. It's like they're not real research about this.
So, I mean, you just said that you haven't really researched, so maybe my next question is a bit unfair. But like you guys have certainly inspired a lot of other teams to follow in your footsteps, and we've seen, you mentioned Yearn, Balancer, we have Solidly, we have Aero Velodrome, which is like the most recently launched, very successful VE system. Like which one of these iterations is your favorite, or you see as most inspiring, or innovative, or interesting?
Yeah, I see it at this point. I'm not like the best guy answering this question basically, because I did not like, at the end, I really care about long-term value, creating long-term value for Curve basically, and of course, yeah, in my personal side, I would like to research all of them and see what's the outcome, but somehow. It's also said, for us, our tokenomics is like immutable. So we don't think as an organization, as a contributor, it's not my task to think basically how we could improve our own tokenomics because we're not going to change it anyway. This is like an area I think it's really immutable, so we can change it anyway. So it's like, yeah, it's not like we don't spend like resource on this basically. So but somebody, yeah,
helps you stay focused.
Yeah. In a way, it's anyway not easy in our industry, to stay focused. But so much information flow. So this is the way. I think what's underrated at the end. It's also, even if you have independent of the tokenomics, the social layer is still like the dominant one. So even if you have like basically better tokenomics than like we have, because we have the veTokenomics, if you have a better one than us, it's like the main issue which make you fail or not fail or be successful. Yeah, long term. Short term, maybe it's like different.
Yeah, it's.
But I think what's undiscovered is maybe more a preparation of this. I think about what's undiscovered is like the depegging of what's interesting about the veTokenomics. It's an on-chain tokenomics, and I think some of the depegs we see in the liquid lockers, it has to do how many of the unlocked token is traded on centralized exchange. So because this brings somehow of imbalance to this tokenomics, and I guess you have more imbalance the more tokens are circulating or traded on centralized exchange. And I'm curious how this like develops in the near future. If like, because nobody's locking anything on a centralized exchange.
Yeah.
That you can do staking, but it's not like that they encourage you to stake, because in a way, of course, centralized exchanges want you to trade.
Yeah.
They don't want you to lock it up and just.
Yeah. like a centralized exchange doesn't benefit from anyone locking for 4 years.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's just, if you think, okay, now you think Curve is interesting. You don't know a lot of on-chain. You don't know the veTokenomics. You're only part of this as like an investment. It depending on your you're not trading. You say, yeah, I invest maybe a whole half a year or whatever. So you don't know that there's like an on-chain, an on-chain version of the same token which you can get revenues, or you maybe discover if you start more engaging, and then. Okay, maybe at some point you will withdraw and go on-chain, but it's somehow. I think this is like, it's interesting because in a way we force the system to on-chain, and I guess that's a good like side effect of the veTokenomics at the end.
Yeah, and you've made it immutable, and but what we've done on our side is like we've done like a version that's fork-friendly, and the whole idea is it can be immutable, but like anyone can go play around, figure out their own setup, and like then launch it. So it's,
but it's not. But if once launched, it's not. It's immutable.
Yeah, you can like basically burn the controller so it becomes immutable, or you can. But the idea is like hopefully we'll have more and more teams like continue iterating on this model, because I think it's the most promising one we have.
There are
Specifically
many implementations beside Aragon's, many re-implementation of this in different flavors.
So what's next for Curve?
I guess we will. It is not like curve related, but one of the things is like Mitch will present like his new project, which is like build on curve. I guess this is like everyone is curious on this one. As we try to, I guess one step we're going to do is like more UX focused. Because now the minting side of Curve USD is basically different from the lending market, and I think part of the people, they don't even, it's hard to understand what's different. So we will like unify this, so we will get a better user experience. We work on iteration of the lending market. We work like on cross-chain governments thing. We have like what we have now, and this is like, we have an easy way. We packaged all the code we had done in the past in one repository, and so we have an easy way to install like Curve. We call it Curve Lite, so we can easily install it on EVM compatible layers, chains, and so we are like more agile in this, and we add like new chains all the time.
The easy package is very interesting.
Yes, and also we're working across governments, part of this, and Roman will afterwards give a talk about this.
We're almost on time, but I still want to give a chance to, if somebody has a question from the audience.
If you have liquid third parties, they allow trading, but at the end, say at the end of the bull market, this is a vehicle for you to still retain the locked VE, and they can't go below that, even though it's
exactly.
liquid.
Yeah, it's a supply sink.
But doesn't that damage your business? Because me, as a customer, I would start thinking, wait a minute, no matter what, no matter how liquid it is, I can't get out of it, because when everybody else tries to get out, there's going to be no way out. It's
a valid damaging question, but I think the answer is we don't. It's optimization for the long term, in a way.
Or is it too late to think?
Yeah, maybe to think not, but it's in a way it's like damaging. What do you mean? You use him as a token holder, investor?
See, now it's bull market, right? I want to get into veCRV, and I'm thinking, nah, what am I going to do next year?
Yeah,
when
but
everybody wants to get out,
we optimize not for the next
I.
year. We optimize for the next, like, I don't know, decades, basically. I guess that's the only answer. So we of course, there's this side effect. You say, as like an investor, or however you name these users. But then you basically, you're the wrong investor. Like that's like one of the answers you can give. But anyway, we have also like part of it is like our share of fees. We share fees with lockers, so you get access to the revenue, and this in a way should like over long term compensate you for part of like your investment. So it's like
it's a double self-selection.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Martin, and I'll see you. Oh wait, can we? Okay, one more.
I'll be quick. It's on the decade focus time frame, where I think there is something in the veCRV model that poses problem for that. And so I want to present it to you and then know if you are adamant with the fact that there will never be any change to the tokenomics. And it's something that troubles me for decade holding, is that veCRV does not exist in any way on chain. It's not represented. It is just you have locked some token in a contract. So that means once I've locked veCRV, I cannot transfer my lock to a new wallet, and that poses an immense operational security risk to any veCRV holder. That makes it complicated to do that on a smart contract and to do it for DAOs, treasury, and whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. That it's true, but I guess I never asked Mitch. Well, I guess part of his motivation has to be a version of a token which is not transferable. So because at this time, if you there's like this Howey test, I don't know very well, but then it's like, yeah, if it's like it has revenue and it's transferable, so it's a security. So he solved this in a way. He said, okay, it's a revenue share, but it's not transferable. So yeah, it's optimizing this too, basically. And of course, as agree, you can't like transfer it from one wallet to another. So yeah, the easy way what you can do a multi. Yeah, now I'm not sure the vote was like, I'm not sure the vote passed, but we moved the.
Every safe wallet is no.
Yeah, because it's like to explain, it's like as a like on a normal wallet, excellent own wallet, you could lock veCRV all the time, but there was like a whitelist for like contracts, and this also is like a multi-signature as a contract. You have to ask the DAO if you're allowed to lock veCRV basically. And this was the case till last week, basically. So this means if you have been a DAO and and some of DAOs have done this, they locked, like Liquidity did it, Yeah, they had like a multi-signature, they got a whitelist, so they locked veCRV. And in a way, yeah, it's still on the multi-signature. But the workaround is basically you make one multi-signature, you lock it only there, and then you basically can sell the multi-signature. Yeah, you can change the signer and then you can move it's transferable now, or yeah, because now we moved it.
So now that we have the safe whitelist, essentially good practice for anyone locking should be always lock from a safe, so that now you can change permission.
Yeah, but the issue is also tokenomics. Yeah, it's like much more complex now. And if you have like you get more rewards if you are like if you're like liquidity providing from the same address and this kind of thing. So yeah, it goes beyond this. Yeah.
Well,
the protocol.
We went a bit over time. I apologize to the organizers.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.